The Only Begotten Daughter in Islam 6. Interpreting Parables and Symbols in the Most Important Religious Texts, Part 6. By Abdelmoumin Ahmed. Summary of the previous discussions on the interpretation of sacred texts. Islam, Christianity, and Judaism are, in essence, one divine project with a single source and a shared purpose. The idea of spiritual sonship to God is firmly established in the Bible. Therefore, in this series, we have explained that the Islamic concept of humankind as God's representative on earth, Khalifa, corresponds to the biblical concept of humankind as the children of God. We have interpreted the hadith that states that, at the end of time, a handmaid will give birth to her mistress. We clarified that the handmaid refers to the handmaid of God, while the mistress represents the first female Lord of the universe, the wife of Christ at his second coming. We supported this interpretation with biblical texts and demonstrated how it corresponds to the life of Mother Hak Jahan. We also examined an Islamic prophecy, more than 1,000 years old, foretelling that the Messiah would appear in the last days in the region of Korea and Japan, and we explained why Korea is the most fitting and blessed land for this great providential event. The renowned scholar Ibn Kathir, who recorded the account of Christ's advent in the Far East, was born in the 14th century CE. In his interpretation of this prophecy, he transmits reports from companions of the Prophet Muhammad, including Ibn Abbas, the Prophet's cousin. Ibn Abbas is among those who narrated the story of one of the tribes of Israel migrating to the lands of Korea and Japan. Ibn Kathir's Tafsir, Quranic commentary, remains one of the most respected and widely accepted works of Quranic interpretation, distinguished for its authenticity, accuracy, and coherence between the transmitted reports and textual evidence. Among the most famous and authentic hadiths is the one narrated by Omar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in which he said, "The handmaid of God will give birth to a daughter who will be the mistress of the universe." This hadith is among the most trustworthy in both its chain of transmission and its content. We have interpreted this saying in light of the expressions found in the Bible, particularly in the words of Elizabeth and Mary, which reveal the meaning of mistress and mother of the mistress. This understanding further supports the legitimacy of Mother Hak Jahan's claim as the only begotten daughter. The Quran recounts the story of Imran's wife, Mary, and Jesus in these remarkable verses. Indeed, Allah chose Adam, Noah, the family of Abraham, and the family of Imran, Jesus' family, above all people. Behold, the wife of Imran said, "O my Lord, I dedicate to you what is in my womb, devoted for your service. So accept this from me, for you are the all-hearing, the all-knowing." When she delivered her child, she said, "O my Lord, I have delivered a female. I have named her Mary, and I place her and her offspring under your protection from Satan, the accursed." So her Lord graciously accepted her, Mary, and made her grow in purity and beauty, and she was placed under the care of Zechariah. Quran 3:33-37. Paraphrased. The Quran thus reveals that the providential preparation for the birth of Jesus Christ, the first only begotten Son, began with his maternal grandmother, the wife of Imran, who devoted her unborn child to God's service even before birth. When she bore a daughter, Mary, she dedicated her to the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem, where she was raised under the care of the high priest Zechariah. In the same way, at the close of the age, in our own time, the birth of the only begotten daughter of heaven also required 3 generations of faith and purity, just as it did for the birth of the only begotten Son. The Quranic narrative of Jesus' birth finds a clear parallel in the providential lineage of Mother Hak Jahan, whose birth came through 3 generations of righteous women: her grandmother, her mother, and finally the Holy Mother Hak Jahan herself. Conclusion. Salvation is the purification of the mind and heart, of thought and feeling, and it is attained through continuous acts of piety and sincerity practiced over generations, ideally spanning at least 3. Ultimately, salvation is fulfilled when the individual becomes one with God's will, and God's will is perfectly expressed through that individual. Human beings are like trees. Indeed, we are inverted trees. The head and hair represent the roots, the neck the trunk, the arms and legs the branches, and the reproductive organs the flowers and fruit. Human beings are like trees, and so were Adam and Eve. This is why the Quran likens the creation of Adam to the growth of a palm tree. Khalifa. The fall was symbolized by eating from the tree. The tree itself represents the Word, and Christ embodies that Word according to Quran. In this sense, Christ is the new, original, and heavenly tree.